Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and of course I'm joined by John Sneisen, author and economic analyst here at WAM and at the Economic Truth. Now, John, the Chinese economy is insane right now. It's obviously crashing. There's a lot. They're trying to prop it up, and it's all BS. Can you go into a bit of what's going on in China?
Yeah, right now in China, what we're seeing is we're seeing a big issue with what they've had, which is a centrally planned economy, and they've been forcing building of things to profit some other state-owned enterprises, which is corporations that are owned by the Chinese Communist Party and the government. Now, what is currently happening is they have a very high issue, which is their commodities sector, and since they've been overbuilding so much, now what we're looking at is they're having struggles there big time, and what's going on is that they're looking at firing between 3 to 5 million people. Now that's almost the same amount of people that lives in my homeland, Norway. So think about that. But their plans, what they're gonna do with this is they're literally gonna just fire the people, but they're still gonna pay them because they're extremely afraid of the backlash that could happen if you suddenly unemploy a nation when it comes to like size. And they're just very afraid of their centrally planned economy that they put together. Now it's crumbling right in front of them, and they're having these people that is going to lose their jobs, but they're still going to sit there collecting a paycheck, do nothing, just because the government is very afraid of what they've created through this whole centrally planned economy. Now, also the stock market in China has been suffering big time. At the start of the year, it had massive falls. It went down 10, 20, 30%, and then of course it got propped up again by a whole bunch of newly printed money in China, which is about 5 trillion yuan right now that they've put back into the stock market in order to prop it up. Now, what's been going on there is they propped it up, but then still they're suffering right now. Like we just had the last couple this week. We had a couple of days now where it dropped in total over 10%. Now, what is happening? And of course, it went up 2 days again, and it's gone up about 5-6%. Now, you got to remember the moving average has been downwards, and it's not been upwards at all. What is going on is we're using, and this is all over the world, we're trying to manipulate things that shouldn't be manipulated, and we're using a collectivist move, which is to manipulate things and to try to plan things so it works out, but it don't, because the free market wants to do certain things that it can't within a controlled society. So what you're seeing is a total demolishment of the structure around everything in China, and China has been for years, like the poster child of big growth and everything, and people have been very excited about China. Well, at that time, China went into massive amount of over leverage. Just the last month in January, they borrowed more money than ever in history in China, because they want to prop up the markets.
Yeah, and China has been, for a very long time, also the poster child for bad economic policy, considering even going back to 1024, as you've mentioned so many times before, that they were basically the first to, create a worthless paper currency.
Yeah, and 1,000 years later, they're making the same mistake over again with their yuan, their current paper currency, or the renminbi as people call it. They're just committing the same mistakes because people don't learn from history. They don't see that when you give the power to print currency to someone, they will misuse it, because people are built that way to say, well, I can make that money out of thin air and buy myself what I want. Well, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, so absolutely.
People are built the way to misuse these things, and they don't understand that we have to be and stay accountable. If you want to paper currency system, which is fiat, if you want that at all, you have to control every single aspect of how much money is in existence, because you can't let that over to the banks and let banks create 10 times more money as soon as you deposit money from the dollar into a bank account. They could create 10 times more money. Now, that is a stupid way to behave when it comes to creating a valuable, great and good economic foundation for a country. You're totally, it might look good at the start, but then over time you're totally wasting talent and everybody's lives, because you have built up this system and propped it up with fake paper money that doesn't have any value. It has the value of zero, and suddenly people find that out, and it's usually too late, because then their life savings are destroyed, and they don't have any money anymore. Gold and other currencies. China is actually one of the biggest buyers of gold in the world, and they know that as an exit strategy, which Canada doesn't, where we live, they sold all their gold, their central bank, that they could actually back their currency by gold in a worst case scenario. And I guess countries like Canada doesn't really care about that, but China has some aspects where they know how to protect themselves in a little way, but they're still a communist country. They still believe that they can centrally plan things to change things, and it's really backfiring right now. It's not a good place to be in the coming years, because when great turmoil happens and you have high inflation, well, one of the next steps in a centrally planned economy is to go to war. So we should all be aware and really fair and educate ourselves on what's going on in China right now, and make sure that we don't make the same mistakes in other countries, which we are currently.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's got to be said, a lot of people say that China is capitalist. China's far from capitalist. It's a totally centrally planned communist, economy. There's no real capitalism in there. Capitalism is free of government. It's free of intervention. It's individuals acting as they will. Say you look at a garage sale or a flea market or, a lemonade stand even. That's capitalism. What we see today isn't capitalism. We haven't seen it in a very, very long time. And China is about as far as it gets from capitalism. That's full-on corporatism. That's communism.
Yeah, they're collectivists, and this is their strategy is to use central planning to try to save the world.
Well, that's not going to happen. We can save ourselves, and that's why we give you all this information, so we can save ourselves. This is Josh Sigurdson, John Sneisen, signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change.